Hey, Dad. I'll tell you.
Okay, phew. That took long enough. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You got to unmute yourself. I can unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear you. Phew-wee. And child, this 2-year-old, we're going to figure out whether she's going to end up in this thing or not. All right, so let me get set up. Yes, we'll both be seen. And let me just make sure. Gallery view. And all right. Go away. Live on Facebook. All right. I'm gonna get back at this desk. I think I'm all right now. Oh, Naya, could you pretty please go get the pizza out of the oven for me, please? It should already be done. Could you just pull the pizza out of the oven for me, please? I'm getting ready to do a live. All right. It's setting itself up. I'm talking to my computer. Don't worry about it, Naya. I got it. It's gonna take a minute. It's okay. I'm sure it's burning. Okay.
Can you hear me good?
Yep, I can hear you great.
Right.
Live. And I'm just gonna leave it at that for now, so it'll. Yeah, she's nice and toasty. See. All right, 2 more minutes left. There we are. Okay. I think we're streaming live now, Ash.
Okay. I see.
Yep, it's coming up on my computer. Hello, everybody. We're getting set up. So please share. Send this to someone. Let them know we are here. And let me see if I can shift this so that. Please share. Let someone know that we are here. Let someone know we are here. Please share. All right, this is our Real Women Facebook Live, and I'm almost set. We want to share this with some folks. Hey there, Miss Sister V, how are you? Please let someone know we're here tonight. I'm sharing on the Real Women page. We have a really good, for all of you busybodies, we got a really good chat for y'all tonight. All right. I just shared it to our Real Women page, and I think I'm good to go. If you all hear babies in the background, we are mamas and aunties and all that stuff, so you might hear a little bit of all of that. Okay, I think we're good, and it's 8 o'clock. I don't know that I've ever been this on time before. Let's see. Miss V is here. I see there's some other folks who are joining us. Please say hello to us. Let us know that you are here. We would love to say hello back. This is an opportunity for us to interact. So this is not just you listening to the two of us. It really is going to be a conversation that we have. We're only going to be about 30 minutes or so, but we would love for you to join us. My name is Trenace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women. And we create safe spaces for women to do real personal development work on themselves, soul work. We don't focus on all of the things that you do. We focus on who you are, because we believe if we focus and get better on, with who we are, that all of those other things fall in place. And so we do that through live sister circles, as well as virtual spaces like this one. We also have an all access membership community. Shout out to all our all access members. And so we would absolutely love for you to join us in any of our circles. We would love for you to be here with us live. We are in Charles County, Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland. We're in Baltimore, Maryland, Hampton Roads, Virginia, Northern Virginia, and we have a Real Women, a young adult Real Women that's in the DMV area. And our goal is to create these sister circles so that no matter where you live, every woman has access to a safe place and a sister circle, no matter where she lives in the world. So we're coming to an area near you very soon. Thank you for joining us. This is our Facebook Live chat, and for just a few minutes, it allows us the opportunity to give you a sneak peek, just a little peek into the real talk that we have in our sister circles and in our all access community. And so please invite your girlfriends, invite your dudes to come and share it with somebody else. Please make sure that they know about what we're doing here. You can always visit our realwomenrock.org website. Again, that's realwomenrock.org to get a lot of information about us. And we're all over Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well. So that's all of the announcements, the church announcements that I have for y'all today. I will remind you of some of those things as we're closing out. But I'm excited because I get to chat it up with my sister girlfriend. We have been holding it down for each other, with each other for a lot of years now. And we do this. You're going to get a sneak peek into a conversation that we probably had today. But we have often. And again, for those of you who are just jumping in, if you hear noise, if you see babies, we do this. I'm trying to make sure I can see your comments. If you hear noise and babies and all that kind of stuff, we have real lives in Real Women. So, so welcome to the world. My niece is around here, so you're probably going to see her jump in at some point. But thank y'all for being here. So today's topic is capacity. Oh, and we are talking with my sister girlfriend, Ashley Gilbert. And let me tell you, Ashley is a lifeline for me. She pours into me. She is on the core team for Real Women, but she has her own business where her and her husband work together with an organization called Ground Zero. And she also coaches women who just need to really, what we're about to talk about right now, to better manage their lives from the inside out. And there's so much that she does. Hello, Pastor. And Robin, hey, y'all, come on in. So I'm just elated to be able to share this space with you. And I just want to give you a chance to say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited. You can hear me, right? All good?
We can hear you great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation. We're going to be real, I'm sure. Like you said.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, let me give you a moniker. If there's anybody in your life who it looks like they have 1,000,001 things going on, if you yourself are the person who has 1,000,001 things going on, you want to be with us for the next 25 minutes or so. So invite somebody to come who it looks like they get everything done, and everything and one thing's done. We're going to talk about what that really looks like in real life. and
Right.
and how we can do better at managing all the stuff we have on our plates. So I first want to ask you, Ashley, and I wanted to have this conversation with you because you are, I think, constantly working on the balance and the management, and I want to call it management rather than balance, but the management of your time and your priorities and your
Right.
space. And we decided to call it capacity for tonight. So I'm wondering if you could share with us even what is capacity, if we could start there so that we can gather where we are as it relates to capacity. What is that?
So that's a tough question for me a little bit because I feel like I'm still trying to gauge exactly what that means. But I think that when I think about capacity, I think about like being full, like how much can I take? That's what comes in my mind. How much can I take or how much can I really handle? And I know for me, I don't have a perfect gauge on that because I try to overload myself all the time. I know we'll get to that, but I think that's what I initially think about is what can I, like, what's my full, like, what am I full? If I'm pouring something into me, my capacity is like to the brim, then I know like that's what I can handle. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So we're going to jump into this because I believe that there are two sides to this. And Anika just told me her word for the year is capacity. So we're about to have some fun. And so some of you in the chat, remember, this is interactive. Please, please, please tell us what your idea of capacity is. When you think of the word capacity, what comes to mind for you? And when you were talking just now, what I thought about was, we could look at this in two different ways. So definitely capacity is, what is your lid, right? What is your ceiling? What can you absolutely handle and master and do well in, and also what is your floor, right? So what is your top peak capacity, but also what is your depth, like? Because there's the width and breadth of what you can handle as far as doing things, but then emotionally and even spiritually, what can you handle, right? So there's a height and a depth to capacity that I think we don't necessarily think of. And I've used this word often, that I believe that if we were to be able to visualize it or illustrate it, if God is an ocean, right? We are just a container that contains a bit of that water of God, the ocean of God. And so we are literally a container of God is my take on it, right? So our container, who we are, we have a limited amount of capacity within our human framework, right? So I want to make sure that we are talking about, because there's the unlimited capacity that God can allow us to accomplish, right? And then there's the everyday task-driven stuff that has to get done. And so I want to be really practical in this conversation, and we can go there if we want to go there about the depths of what God can allow us to do in life, we can. But I really, initially when we were talking, I want to talk about the practicalities of it, because oftentimes we look at people who have 1,000,001 things going on, and we think to ourselves, ooh, like, how do they get it all done and all those things? And there's a magic to that. There is a method to that madness. And so that's what I want to talk about. I want to just say a couple of things. Robin said, what all I can do and do well, that is important. Anika said, what am I able to receive? That's, and what am I able to deposit? So what am I able to receive, and what am I able to give? And then what sacrifices qualify to stretch my capacity even more? This is good. So based on all of what we just said, I'm wondering if you can help us, Ashley, because you said something to me that I thought was so profound, that our capacity is for us. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Vicky, Dr. Vicky, in December when she was talking to us.
So let me give a little out. Let me get Vicky Johnson is, and absolute wonderful mentor to me and has poured into the Real Women team recently. And she shared with us some meaningful stuff. So go ahead.
Right. She shared a lot of things, and it was overwhelming to me. But I remember when she said specifically, I think it was specifically to me, but I just remember her saying that that our capacity is for us, and that we are to give out of our overflow. And that concept for me was just like, hold up. So I have a storage for me, right? I believe that God has for me, and that I'm to give from an overflow. But I know in my life, I give to the point where I have nothing left for myself, right? So I think that the idea that we are supposed to be depositing, I think Anika said that, deposit, I think like allowing God to deposit, we are to deposit, so that we are full. That's my capacity, but that's what I live off of. That is for me to continue to be able to do what I'm called to do, just for me and my direct, my family and all that. But then the overflow, like there's supposed to be an overflow, like this continuous flow, that I'm not getting to the point where I'm burnt out. I have nothing left. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. Like when we get to that point, then I'm having to realize, hold up, I've been giving people my storage. what was for me, and I'm leaving nothing left. So I'm really in the midst of figuring out this right now, because I'm that person that gives of myself all the time, and then I'm left with not a lot for me. And so I have to kind of figure out how do I know when I'm, giving from my reserve and when I'm giving from an overflow? Like, what does it feel like to be flowing enough to know that I'm not giving of my stuff? So yeah, that concept blew my mind, so I'm still trying to dissect it, but that's the little bit of explanation that I have so far.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
So if you all can visualize this, and let us know in the chat if you receive this, if you understand it, if you disagree, we want to talk about it. That the idea is that your capacity is for you. It is what you are able to give out of for you. It's for you. And then your overflow is for other people. It's when you are able to do and be for other people. That's in your overflow. So there has to be a reservoir. And that's what I want to talk about. Like there has to be this reservoir of what you have inside of you that feeds you, that ministers to you, that gives you restoration and refreshment and all those things. You have to have some sort of renewal inside of you in order to be able to give someone out of your overflow. Because if we are giving people and we have not been poured into adequately, then it's like driving with a car that has low on fuel, or it needs an oil change. Like it just is not in good condition. Yes, you can drive it. Yes, you can accomplish and do for other people, but you're not really doing it at your best. And I love what Anika said, because yes, reservoir. And so I love what Anika said, because I really believe that what we are able to receive is directly proportionate to what we are able to deposit. So we have to have room to receive in order to have something to deposit into other people. And if we are not making room to receive, then I don't know what we giving people. We can't be giving quality if we're not receiving quality, right? So I wanted to talk about this. What does being at a manageable capacity look like, or even what does it look like to start working through that in a practical way? So I want to ask you about it. Let me see whatever other people have said before we move on. Anika said, storage is empty when you give from your reserve. Hello. So exactly what we just said. And then Robin says, sometimes I don't realize I'm using my reserve until I'm worn out. Hello. So that's what we got to figure out. And you just said, Ashley, you're working through it. And so I wanted to to just give a little bit of thought to it, and I'll turn it over to you as well, as far as what does manageable capacity look like, or how do we know when there's too much, that when we're giving out too much and we're giving out of our reserve, right? Out of our reservoir. And so for me, I call it acting out. Okay. And for me, acting out can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily mean like the childhood acting out where you just have a temper tantrum, but it could, because you could be an adult and just kirking off on people and have a short temper and all of those things. I think that's an example of pouring out of your reserve or your reservoir, and you don't have an overflow. So you're trying to give and it's not quality. Right. And it's not with grace, and it's not with love, because it's supposed to be for you. You're trying to give it to other people, and it's supposed to be for you. So acting out. But I also, not just in your attitude, I also mean acting out, meaning acting outside of yourself. So when you are your best self, when you are at peace and are in harmony with you, then I feel like we act out of our best selves. Like we are, and I want everybody to just visualize for yourself, when I am at my best, what words come to mind? If you could put some of those in the chat. When I'm at my best, when I am rested, when I am invigorated by life, when I feel like I'm on cloud nine, when things are really, when I envision things going my way and it seems like things are flowing, what types of words would you use to describe yourself? Please put those in the chat. For me, I'm creative, and I'm loving, and I'm giving, and I'm funny, and I'm able to be my best self, whatever that looks like. And when I am acting out, I'm acting outside of that. And for me, that's how I know when there's too much on my plate in that moment. Novena said peace and love, and Addie said bliss. Oh, I love those words. Yeah. So can you tell me, for you, Ashley? I said a lot, but when it looks like you have too much on your plate, or it's not manageable for you, what does that look like for you?
Well, I'm not nice. I know I'm not. I feel drained, and I feel tired. And I think for me, it's key that I know myself, and I say connected to me. And I think the more things we have on our plates, the busier we are, and the less time we actually have to even acknowledge where we are or what we need in a moment, right? And so I think that's the key. That's been the key for me right now in this season, is to be connected enough to me to realize, okay, like I could keep going. Like, last year, the year that I had, I was busy, and it wasn't until I slowed down that I realized, like, how in the heck did I make it through last year? And it's because I didn't stop enough to say, hey, I need to, stop doing some of the things or release something off my plate. So I think what's required of me and maybe some other people is that we reevaluate every season, even what do I need in this moment to feel those things, to feel relaxed, blessed, peaceful, to find the rest that I need, because that's my word for this year is rest. And not that those things are going to happen easily. Like we talked about that today. Sometimes you actually have to fight to make room and to notice when you're closed off. Because I could be closing myself off from just being able to pour into me. Like I'm closing myself off from depositing into myself, and then also other people being able to deposit into me. But it's key that I stay connected to me. And a scripture that's come to me over and over again is love your neighbor as yourself.
Wow.
I need to love them as myself. So if I'm not loving me in a way that is real and authentic and healthy, I don't know how I'm loving other people. Like, it might look good on the surface, but it's really not coming from the best place. So I've been intentional about that. And I think that's key in knowing what's your capacity. What is literally your capacity? Not looking like, oh man, you're doing a whole lot. How are you doing it? Maybe they're maxing themselves out. We don't always see, people crying at night or not sleeping or stressed out. We don't always see that. We see the smile, we see the good things that somebody's doing. And we're like, well, if she could do it, I should be able to add a few things to my plate, and I told you earlier that some moms were looking at me sideways when I told my kids that they can't do some of their activities this season because I need a break. And they were looking at me crazy for saying I needed a break. Like, as a mom, I'm supposed to be driving them everywhere and stressed out and tired and not having time for myself. I think as women, we wear those badges as if it's like, oh, I want to get like that. Like, I need to be able to do 100 million things. No, I don't. I want to be able to feel inner peace. And what that means, I have to be willing to let go of some stuff and realize my capacity is not as large as I thought it was. I thought I had more, meaning to fill it with more stuff, not depositing it with love or affirmations or things that make me feel happy, but filling myself up with stuff or doing great things, and that's not what I needed. So I said a lot, but really I think it's just about being connected to self and being willing to adjust with each season as need be.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You said so many good things. A lot of what you said connected with Novena. She said the key is to know myself and to love and to protect me.
Protect me.
And I think that's so important. One of the things you said was, really just taking inventory and deciding to to say no, to take some things off of your plate. And I'm wondering, for those of you who are in here, because some of you all are, you've shared some of your words of when you are your best self. But if you could please share for me, do you feel overwhelmed, like in this present state, or have you gotten to a place where you're able to prioritize appropriately and sort of match your capacity? Do you feel like you have outmaxed your capacity, or have you met it? What does it really look like for you? And it's so funny you said about, just being able to say no about even what is good. Because sometimes just because it's good stuff doesn't mean, doing for your kids and saying yes to the church. And, one of the things, and some of my, my beloved church members will probably see this, but I sing less at church because I just don't have the capacity to do everything, right? And so I have to prioritize. And it reminds me of the big rock theory, where if you have a container, you put the biggest rocks in first, the most important ones, the ones that you want to make sure you make time and space and energy for, and then you put the smaller rocks in. And if you do it that way, you get much more in than if you start with all the little stuff that you feel like you have to do, check this out of obligation, out of guilt. Like, I think that's really when we try to determine what needs to come off of our plate, what is the motivation behind us doing it, right? Sometimes it's pride that's motivating us. Sometimes it's guilt, obligation. It's not a sincere desire to help. It's so nobody looks at us cross-eyed, and we are exhausted in the process. And so I just want to make sure that we evaluate kind of where the motivation is coming from. And so that can be one way that we help determine what to take off of our plates. Let me read a couple of, and then I'm going to check with you, Ashley, see if you have anything you want to share. V said, no, we fool ourselves into thinking that we must do it all, but we don't. Here. And so patient, self-affirming, have a greater amount of clarity related to my needs and how, this is a good best self, Sherry, and how I can and cannot meet and fulfill other people's needs from me. Yep. V said even Jesus pulled away. How about that? Robin said, that's so hard to tell kids no, but perhaps if it clashes with my inner peace, I need to adjust as well. I might not need to omit everything, but modify. Let me tell you, Robin, let us free you, child. And honestly, Ashley is my hero for this because she has even pulled away from what is really technically purpose for her, because she is really called. If you ever experienced Ashley pouring into you, she is called to help women especially, but everybody, but women especially, to progress and move forward from the inside out. And she has taken a sabbatical. So you want to talk about it for a minute? Okay, yeah. It hasn't come up before now, but you want to say?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear. But yeah, so I mean, that was one of the ways that I had to be intentional about me. And when I felt the need to do it, it wasn't like, I wasn't necessarily stressed about it, but it kept coming to me like, just take a break for 6 months. I was like, hold on. And I went to you like, listen.
Listen, Linda.
I feel this, but I don't want to do it, right? And you challenged me. And that day I went and reached out to all my clients and said, hey, I gotta take a break. And I for so wanted to be like, for 2 months, 1 month, not 6 months. But it's being made clear why. And I love what I was doing. Great things, business growing. In the prime time,
it's not good to take a break. But here I am right now. And you know what? I needed that break, even though it was a small portion of my life. I have so many other big rocks that I have to deal with. I have to attend to my big rocks, and that would take up time. I will be pouring out from my reserve in this season if I continue to do it. Yeah. So I am okay now in saying I need to be in this break. I wasn't at first, but I think it is very freeing to let go of some great opportunities for me. Yeah. Because of course I can say, well, a whole lot of people need me and it's my purpose. But you know who needs me right now? Me. Yes. And that is powerful, to let go of something that, and I'm not letting it go. It's still there. I will be able to pick back up. But you know what? I think I have such clarity and peace and be in a better place to pour out. And I think I'll have this whole capacity and overflow thing on lock, hopefully by then, so that I'm not giving from my reserve. So yeah.
And nobody's good if you're giving out of your reserves. Like even the women that you're helping, they think they're good, but you're not giving your best self if you're giving to them from that place. So I think it is not only admirable, it's an example set, and a hard one because it's not easy. But I think I wanted you to talk about it because I want us to make some really difficult decisions. So as we're closing, I want to just take some practicalities, some very practical takeaways so that you can leave with these. And I want to start with the simple and move to the hard, right? So the simple is what I think, let's see who said it. I want to make sure I give it to attribution to the right person. I'm not going Andrea, I think it was either Andrea or Addie. Somebody said that you just, you pull away and take time out when you need to. You make sure that you just take a break, take a breather, whether it's a few minutes. Sometimes some people have told me power naps are wonderful. I take showers every day, but I take a bath every once in a while, at least once a week, just to relax and decompress. Breathing exercises, really deep breaths as many times as you can. That's something you don't even have to leave a space to take deeper breaths. So really simple things that you can do in the moment to bring yourself back to a center. Right. But that's in a moment. So then you can take that all the way to reprioritizing your schedule, taking some things off of your plate that aren't supposed to be there, knowing that if you are acting out, meaning acting outside of yourself, not being your best self, that means you're probably giving out of your reserve, and you're supposed to be giving out of your overflow. Knowing your motives and your intentions for even giving to others and being something to other people. Where is that coming from? What place is that coming from in you? And then the really hard part, I think, is when it's connected to passion or purpose or love. And you've alluded to it. For me, I know that things happen in seasons, and there are 3 big rocks for me that I really believe God has me here on earth to do. I'm here to preach, I'm here to teach, I'm here to sing. And within those things, especially the teaching portion, there is Real Women, and so there are different seasons for that. So I have to really be sensitive about the season that I'm in, so that I'm not overexerting myself even with those 3. And it's possible for God to expand and enlarge my capacity as I learn to manage properly what he has given me. Right. So the capacity he's given me, I have to learn to manage that. So I started this by saying, we look at all of these people who are multi-talented, multi-gifted, multitasked, and we look at them and we say, how are they able to do it all? Well, at some point, they've made some planned, deliberate decisions about what comes first, what comes next, and then they have room for some other things. So I just wanted to give some really practical, hopefully, things that you all can use and walk away with. I know I talk with my hands. That's so funny. So Anya said, unfortunately, I can't go totally. I'm in a place of assessing. Yes. So it can be a place right now of you just examining and assessing what needs to come off of your plate. What are you doing out of your reserves where you need the rest, you need the pouring into, you need the refresher for yourself, and you're still trying to give it to other people. Yep. V says she used to literally run on fumes. Okay, good. So Andrea said,
I have a practical
yeah, please,
exercise that I do with some coach when I'm coaching sometimes that I think will be helpful. So make a list of all the things that are on your plate. Let the list run. At least 20 things. I'm pretty sure you could probably have a longer list than that. But then pick out the 5 priorities, the top 5 things that are most important, and focus on those only for this week, for the month, or whatever it is. Because what we do is we have this long old list and we want to get it all done, and none of it can get done in excellence. And then because we set this high standard and bar for ourselves, then we negatively talk about ourselves because we didn't meet that standard. But how excellent and probably more productive we will be if we focused on those 5 things and gave our all in those areas, making sure that we are on that list. And so it's sometimes hard because you're like, oh, I need to put 6 up there, or I need 5, but I think it's important because a lot of billionaires actually use this with their employees and different stuff to say, hey, we can't do everything, but what can we be most effective at doing?
I love it. I think that is such a real good practical something. And you got some agreement in the chat as well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. So I want you all to put suggestions in there as we're closing as well. You can see I put the question in the chat. What do you do to manage your capacity? What are some things that you do to manage your capacity to make sure that you are giving to others out of your overflow and not just out of your reserves? And so Anya asked the question, how do we separate the list, Ashley, between work and personal things?
So I would say you can do that for work, right? But we have to separate the two, because sometimes we have work mixed in with our personal stuff. And that's part of the reason why we're pouring out of our reserve, because we're giving work some stuff, but we're not giving ourselves time. So I think you should have a personal list, and then, make one for work, but then make sure that you are being attentive to the personal list as well, and that we're at the top of that list, that you are always taking care of you. So I think 2 lists are good because it's effective to do it at work, but then make sure that you are focused on you and what you need on your personal list as well.
That's good. That's good. So 2 separate lists.
Yeah.
And that's good. And then V said she has started, one of the things she started doing is evaluating if what I was going to do was a need or a want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. That's a really practical way to look at it. Do I really need this, or is it something that I want? And that's helping me with money stuff. But that's a good suggestion overall. So we've committed to only being about 30 minutes or so. And so as we're closing, thank you all for sharing with us. This is just a little sneak peek. It's only 2 of us, and then we get to interact with you all back and forth in the chat. But we have this and more in our local sister circles every single Saturday. We can now say that every Saturday of the month, except for 5th Saturdays when they happen, but every Saturday of the month, there is a local sister circle meeting in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia area, or in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So please go to our website. If someone from Real Women can put in the chat, our website is realwomenrock.org. Oh, good. So she's going to come and say hello to y'all now. This is my niece. Say hi, Dia. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. And so realwomenrock.org is where you go. Realwomenrock.org is where you go to find out more information. This coming Saturday is our Real Women PG. Yep, it sure is. It's our Real Women PG in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And please go to the website for all of the other information. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah. So all those who joined the watch party, I see. Shout out to those. And oh, good stuff. Baths, deep breathing. Yep. Some of those Yep. I brought some of those up. So thank y'all so much. I won't keep you. I know there's dinner. And as you can see, I got taking care of some little ones to do. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being here.
Thank you.
And, it really was an extension of our conversation earlier today. So that was
I know.
All right. Love y'all. Have an
Okay.
awesome evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.